Hello, everyone. Welcome to Secure Your Browser, Master Browser Security. Thank you so much for attending. We really appreciate you taking time out of your day to discuss something I think is really exciting. Everyone here is very passionate about securing the enterprise and specifically mastering your browser security. I'm Leanne Larson, a security solutions architect here at XenTegra, and I'm joined by Jonathan and Rich from Acium, as well as my practice director, Aaron Banner. Aaron, if you want to kick things off and introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Leanne. Hey, thank you for everyone attending. I'm Aaron Banner. I'm the director for two of our practices here at XenTegra, the security practice and the networking practice, and just a pleasure to be with you. I'm going to turn it over to John from Acium.
Hi, good morning, everybody. John Lieberman. I'm the CEO and co-founder at Acium, and we are pioneering web browser security. And excited to be here. Excited to partner with XenTegra, and we have a nice little presentation for you all that will start in a few minutes. Great to be here. Thanks again. And I'll turn it over to my colleague Rich Martindale, who's our director of customer experience. Rich.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining today. My name is Rich Martindale. As John highlighted, I'm the Director of Customer Experience here at Acium. I work very closely with John and the XenTegra team on a day-to-day basis, and I look forward to assisting some of you all in the near future. Leanne?
Wonderful. XenTegra is a global IT solutions advisor specializing in digital workspaces and cloud computing. We help create secure, user-friendly workspaces accessible from any device, anywhere. We were born out of a need for real customer enablement with true partnership. We're an international company with expertise across your entire technology stack, headquartered out of Charlotte, North Carolina, but we have offices in Canada and India and client executives across the nation. We like to say we're a global company with a right next door feel. We're on a mission to engage, listen, and deliver the appropriate enterprise technology to clients of all sizes because we truly believe that every organization, regardless of size, deserves access to enterprise level technology. And while we're doing that, we're striving to be VAR 2.0, breaking the mold of traditional transactional value-added resellers by focusing more on your success and building a true partnership. If you need it, we're here to help. We cover solutions for everything from the data center to the endpoint, and we stay involved in every aspect of the industry, not just the office, and whenever you might need us in the field. We engage extensively with our local communities and make industry events more accessible. We also do a lot of digital engagement and content in collaboration with experts, such as this webinar. And we prioritize our charitable initiatives through XenTegra Cares. So networks are not the only thing we make sure are always connected. Here at XenTegra, we know our model works because of our hard work and our partnerships with our clients and partners. That's the XenTegra difference. And speaking of partners, we're fortunate enough to have Rich and John on here. If you want to talk a little bit more about Acium, gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Leanne and the XenTegra team. And today we're going to cover a few things that I want to share with you. First of all, we're going to talk about what has become most enterprises' #1 blind spot, the browser, and why unmanaged browser extensions are the new shadow IT. We're then going to help you understand how to analyze the permissions and data access risks of every extension by mastering extension risk assessment. And then 3, automating browser protection, how to create and enforce policies to automatically block risky extensions. And 4, enabling safe browsing access to SaaS and internal apps by securing every device. And 5, how XenTegra and Acium have put together what I think is a dynamic partnership that combines to deliver granular control and simplifying your security stack. And then finally, we'll have a short Q&A session. So with that, I'll get started. And before getting into the presentation, I do want to share a little bit about our investors, advisors, and our leadership team. It's something that I take a lot of pride in. We've put together such an incredible group of investors who really believe in what we're doing, our mission, and are helping us be the leader. Among them, some of you may recognize Mark Templeton, the former president and CEO of Citrix, who's now on the board at Proofpoint, one of the leading email security firms in the world. John Becker, who was the CEO at SourceFire and most recently of CrashPlan and has been involved in cybersecurity as CEO of 5 different billion-dollar companies. Sean Charnock, who was the SVP at FireEye before they sold out to Mandiant Security. Al Montserrat, the number 2 at Citrix for many years, and many others, including my co-founder and our CTO, Ian Bray. Ian's not on the call today, but Ian is very much the architect and vision behind Acium, and we wouldn't be here today, of course, without him. And so let's get started with an acknowledgement that the browser is the new endpoint. It's the new super app for business. I think most of us would agree that the browser is where we spend most of our time. 83% of employees can accomplish all or a majority of their work within a browser, according to Forrester. And by 2027, Gartner says that the browser is going to be the central component of enterprise super app consolidation. And then finally, based on a study that we did and we commissioned through Enterprise Strategy Group, 72% of workers have been victimized by browser attacks. So the browser is now your most used app, but it's also your most vulnerable. And the reason is because old security assumptions no longer work when it comes to browsers. So there's basically 3 kinds of solutions that companies are using today, none of which are really protecting browsers. First of all, you have legacy security tools that were built for static on-prem environments, but the reality is today's world's dynamic and distributed. People don't work within the 4 walls of an office in spite of this, get back to work, get back to the office mantra for most companies. Most security tools like VPNs and firewalls were perimeter-based security, but they don't protect workers using any device and from anywhere. And then finally, you have SaaS sprawl, unmanaged browsers, and shadow IT that are exposing dangerous new security gaps that traditional tools just don't see or control. And so modern browsers have become a goldmine for attackers. Browsers provide direct access to your most sensitive data, whether it's your personal information, health information for healthcare workers, financial services, information, social securities. So much of what we do is within a browser today. And the key risk areas that we're finding and that that our clients and customers are talking about are malicious extensions, hidden malware, spyware, and data harvesting, credential theft and session hijacking, shadow SaaS usage, and then finally data exfiltration, data loss via copy and paste, uploads, and screenshots. These are the kinds of risks that Acium was born to protect and secure for our customers. And finally, the legacy controls like SWIGs, secure access gateways, SASE solutions, EDR solutions. The reality is they don't see what's happening within the tab of a browser. So before getting into our solution, I'd like to just take a couple minutes with an audience poll. I think you have the poll up there. What is your biggest browser security concern today? I think I know the answer, but would love to hear it from our attendees. Starting with number 1, A, lack of visibility into browser activity. B, risky user installed extensions. I'll let you know what we're finding out about that in a few minutes. Shadow IT and unsanctioned SaaS usage. And then D, data leakage to the web or Gen AI tools, or E, something completely different that's not listed here. If you'll just take a minute, think through your answer, we'll continue, and then we'll talk about the results at the end. Okay, I'll move on. So introducing Acium Unified Browser Security. We call our solution UBS. And we are the category leader when it comes to UBS, because for us, UBS means 4 basic things, which we see here. It means granular visibility, see who is doing what, where, across all browsers. Today, in most environments, you'll have at least 3 browsers, Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, and Apple Safari. But you've probably been hearing and reading there's all kinds of new browsers coming onto the scene, from whether it's OpenAI or Perplexity or some of these other AI companies that are now introducing their own browsers because they know that this is where the action is, this is where the data is. So it's really about seeing who is doing what, where across all your browsers. It's around context-aware controls, blocking risky behavior in real time without disrupting users. We're all about proactive prevention. A lot of the cybersecurity tools in the market are around reactive blocking, reactive detection. These are unfortunately threats that come into your network and already are in your environment. Well, what if you could protect and defend against any of these threats before they even get into your environment? That's what we're talking about when we talk about browser security. It's around automated extension security, proactively managing and enforcing extension policies. There are today over 1 million extensions available from the Chrome store, from the Microsoft store, and other independent stores throughout the internet. And what most people don't realize is that these extensions, in many cases, are filled with malicious code, with dangerous things that you have no idea of what they can potentially see and do within your environment, and also with permissions that grow over time that allow the companies providing these extensions to get access to your data, do data scraping, to sometimes even read and write some of your passwords. So that's something, and that's an area that's become a black hole that a lot of IT and security professionals are telling us they need to have control over. And then finally, it's around comprehensive data protection, preventing data loss from the browser to the web. And so we're going to go over 5 key things, that we think about when we talk about browser security. First of all, it's around pinpointing your =1 blind spot, unmanaged extensions. That was in our poll. And what we have found now over the past year is that over 50%, about 58% of our customers and prospects tell us that extensions are their greatest concern, and they need to get their arms around it and understand what's going on. And if you think about it, all of the software tools that we're using today, whether it's Salesforce for sales and marketing automation, HubSpot, Workday, all of the major software vendors today have a complementary extension that allows more power, more tools that their software has. But again, with that benefit of those additional tools comes the risks that we're finding that a lot of these extensions have, whether it's unauthorized data access, malicious activities, extensions that can inject malicious scripts, executing phishing schemes, or serving as gateways for cyber attacks, compliance risks. Data collection by extensions can violate all kinds of things, whether it's HIPAA, PCI, GDPR. All of these things are at great risk through some of the permissions that extensions give today. And then finally, supply chain vulnerabilities. A trusted extension can also be sold to malicious actors. A lot of companies have published extensions and then gone out of business. And then they find out that their only valuable asset is the fact that they had an extension approved by the Chrome store. And they now sell it, and that extension changes its DNA overnight. So it's around mastering extension risk assessment. We give you complete visibility into every extension in your environment, and we help you assess the risk. So first and foremost, we help you understand what are the extensions in your environment. We do an inventory, all of the extensions. And I guarantee you will be surprised that there are some extensions that people are using that you have no idea were even in your environment. And then we assign a risk. We scan those extensions. We assign a risk as to whether or not they're benign, they're low risk, medium risk, high risk, or critical risk. And based on that assessment, you can develop policies that we help you enforce through our software. The third one is automating browser protection, moving from a reactive to proactive posture when it comes to unifying browser protection. We enable you to create and automatically enforce granular policies for all browser extensions. This was the initial, reason and pain point that we realized when we first created Acium. Most companies today are using things like group policies, other tools, whether maybe it's Google Chrome Manager, maybe it's Microsoft Intune, to manage and secure their browsers. But the reality is these tools, A, are very hard to use, and B, are not dynamic. You're setting them and forgetting them. We've created a single hub where you can come in and secure and manage, any browser. Today, it's Chrome and Edge, which are about 80% of the market. And within the next few weeks, we'll be releasing our integration with Firefox and with Safari. So we'll have 4 of the leading browsers with about 95% market share covered, and then also some of the newer browsers that are coming into the market are just behind those. And it's around policy enforcement. It's around whether you're okay with someone installing and re-enabling a blocked extension, and creating policies to automatically disable that in real time. It's around, fourth is securing every device. We provide a secure and seamless access across all browsers and devices without requiring a complex VDI or restrictive enterprise browser. A lot of VDI use cases today are around browser-only applications. I would submit to you that that's overkill and too expensive for simply restricting where someone goes on the internet, and can be accomplished through a much lower cost solution like Acium. So the other use cases that we're seeing as immediate and low-hanging fruit are securing BYOD and contractors, third-party contractors, customer service reps that are in the field, enforcing corporate security policies on any browser, regardless of the device ownership. Gen AI and data control, DLP, preventing sensitive data, source code, PII, trade secrets from being pasted into ChatGPT. This is now becoming obviously an emerging threat that we helped protect against. And then finally, real-time threat protection, blocking phishing, malware, social engineering attacks before they can execute. Again, it's all around protective prevention, proactive prevention, not reactive detection. And then finally, simplifying your security stack with XenTegra and Acium. We've created a partnership with XenTegra that is very, very fast time to value. We help you assess, what you have today, and then our solution can be deployed in literally minutes and thousands of endpoints. And in summary, it's around providing a single pane of glass to manage all browsers, integrating seamlessly into your environment without having to install or go through the friction of deploying a new browser. Some of these new enterprise browsers create lots of friction, lots of time evaluating it. With our solution, you can get up and running in days. It's around reducing tool sprawl, consolidating security functions for data loss prevention, and then finally lowering your total cost of ownership, reducing reliance on costly and complex VDI deployments, and also going to alternative enterprise browsers, which in our view is really not necessary for the vast majority of use cases. So we've created, the playbook for modern browser security, and it has 5 components: gain browser visibility everywhere users work, managing, controlling extensions proactively, governing SaaS usage and shadow IT from within the browser. 4 is applying real-time data protection policies, preventing copy, paste, downloads, uploads. And then finally, delivering a frictionless security that users don't hate. And that's really what it's about. Some of these enterprise browser companies, have gotten amazing traction, created amazing awareness of the real problem that we're seeing in the industry with browser vulnerabilities. But what they're not getting is widespread adoption within the enterprise, because the reality is that most users don't want to give up the browsers that they've been using and have become familiar with over the last 20 years. So we have a solution that allows you to meet, your employees and workers where they are in the way that it is simple. And so for us, the future is not a new browser, it's securing the ones that users already love with unified browser security. And with that, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Rich, who will talk to you about an exclusive offer.
Yep, no worries at all. Thank you very much, John. So yeah, what we're actually offering with our partnership with XenTegra here is an offer for a free 30-day trial. That's something that you can sign up for very easily. If you actually take a look in the chat window at the very top, you'll actually see, and we've just reposted it for you again, the link that you can sign up there directly through XenTegra's website. So also with that free trial and signing up today, what you'll actually get is you will get a free upgrade to Acium Premium, which means that we will include all of the features that we've just discussed today. If you decide to move forward with the product after a trial, the trial is very quick and easy to set up. It's a SaaS-based platform which we host on your behalf. So there's no need to worry about additional infrastructure or anything along those lines. And the entire process to actually deploy to an organization is exceptionally quick, because the way that we manage this is through an extension. So if there's a way that, you know, anyone on the call has an interest, you'd like to do a follow-up, even a discovery call, learn more about the product, or if you are interested in doing a free 30-day trial, please go ahead and register through the XenTegra link. Feel free to reach out to any of your XenTegra reps directly, and I look forward to speaking with you. Leanne?
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rich. We partner with Acium, but why XenTegra? They've spoken quite a bit, but we are the masters of end user infrastructure, and we value your safety. Our technology solutions empower customers across all industries. We do not discriminate, and we believe technology should be accessible for all. We also transform how workforces deliver value for a faster, more secure, and adaptive future, so you can optimize and use every facet of the technology you have in your environment. We deliver exceptional digital experiences and business value every day. We also have decades upon decades at this point of end user infrastructure experience. Let us help you transform your digital workspace through solutions like Acium. All right, questions from our attendees or our panelists?
Yeah, so very quickly, Leanne, I'm just going to go back to the results of the poll here. And just so that everyone on the call knows, actually, the one thing that showed most interest here is actually the risky user installed extensions. You know, I know John spoke quite intensively about that during the course of his presentation. But not only do we have the ability to provide you with a risk score for each of the individual extensions which are inventory, we do have extension profiles that we can build behind that in order to do things like lower the risk score and make it allowed inside of your environment. Another great thing that we actually have is in our global settings, as you're deploying your policies, we have the feature and the option to be able to set a mandatory risk score across your entire environment. So as an example, if you never wanted to allow an extension which was above a certain risk level to be installed in your environment, we can go ahead and we can do things like that. And that immediately, you know, mitigates the high and critical potential risks that can be introduced there through adding additional extensions. It's actually quite a scary area to talk about. We spoke to somebody at Google earlier this year at RSA, actually. And they actually told us that out of the somewhat hundreds of thousands of extensions that are contained in their own Chrome store, they estimate that there's probably anywhere between the region of 3,000 to 5,000 available in the Chrome store that probably contain malicious content. So, you know, it's nice to see that there is an interest there. And again, I would relish in the opportunity to talk to anyone about that who had any additional questions. And if I may, just one other thing as well, data leakage to the web or Gen I tools is another thing that seemed to be relatively popular in the audience poll as well. So built into our product, we actually have a feature which is known as data controls. And what it does is it gives us the ability to go ahead and secure things like generative AI. So as an example, as an organization, if you only wanted to allow a singular AI platform, what we can do is we can actually block all of the other AI platforms like Copilot, Claude, things of that nature, Gemini, and we can specifically allow a single platform inside of your organization. But with that platform and through our data controls, what we can do is we can control the actions that people can actually act upon inside that platform. So things like prevent the ability for them to take an organizational report that may have been published by your CFO and do things like upload it to ChatGPT and say, analyze this for me. right? You're a little too lazy to read it. I think at some point we've all been guilty of doing things like that. But at the same time, what a lot of people and organizations don't realize is through doing that, you're actually uploading corporate and potentially sensitive information to essentially what is an open source AI platform, thus forth making it accessible to the entire world. So things like copy, paste, upload, download, we can block all of those things when it comes to things like AI tools as well. And we can also incorporate that with our PII data masking. So again, we can invoke data masking on specific websites where, we say that we want to have sensitive data protected, and we will automatically mask things like social security numbers, credit card numbers, email addresses, et cetera, et cetera. Just one other very quick question that I can see here as well. Somebody said, well, how does it actually work? So I think I alluded to this point earlier. But one of the great things about Acium is that it is just an extension that exists inside of your browsers. So without the need to go and take on an entire project to rip and replace every single browser that you have in your environment, discover what browsers that you have, and then enforce users to use a separate third-party browser. The adoption rates for that in general are something which seems to be quite poor. It's been shown in studies that we've done that the adoption rates of new browsers are only about 46%. So what we're doing is we're taking the user experience into account here whilst delivering you the same security as a lot of all those other, enterprise browser solutions say that they can offer and deliver to you, with very minimal user interaction and very minimal interaction from a IT standpoint.
Yeah. Hey, Rich, I'm gonna ask a question, but I'm also going to remind everyone on the webinar. Some folks I think came in a couple minutes late. If you have a question for the ACM team or the XenTegra team, please post it in the chat. We'll see it as panelists, and we'll try to get to your question. But Rich, I know that as I'm doing engagements with across our client base, the question we get a lot of times is, hey, what does a standard deployment of this look like? What's the timeline? How difficult is it? How heavy a lift is it on my organization? Now, I know that will vary based on the environment and the client and the volume of what we're doing. But if you could maybe answer just in general what that relatively looks like as we go and do a deployment in an organization.
Of course, Aaron, not a problem at all. So, guys, this is super quick. And when I say super quick, what we do is we actually host your environment for you. Okay. So once you sign up and you register with Acium, you'll be provided with a SaaS-based tenant, which, as I say, is hosted by us. This comes at no additional platform cost to anyone who becomes a customer. Okay. We take all of the costs for that. This is all user-based licensing. But because of the fact that we have a single console, which has very few policies, and we're only pushing this to an extension, Aaron, realistically, the answer to that question is, one, I could probably show you how to configure the tool in as long as it would take me to give a demonstration. Okay. It's a very simple tool to use. The admin console is exceptionally intuitive, and all of our policies are separated out into each of the individual pieces that John's just talked about. So there's very clear delineation between where you're setting policies in your environment. Outside of integrating this with your IDP, which we all know IDP integration takes the best part of 60 seconds. The real answer to that question is, how quickly can you push an extension? We have many, many resources available to us, such as Intune, Google Cloud Admin Console. It's literally a case of taking the extension ID, configuring it in the manner which is qualified to your organization. We can also enable the option for users to be able to automatically log into that extension as well. So the second that it's pushed to their endpoint, they'll automatically log in and begin securely browsing. And after that, that's really about it, Aaron. It's a very, very simple, cost-effective, and very quick time to see results from what you're doing in your organization. And then, of course, all of that data is reported to our console in real time as it happens from the users.
Yeah. Hey, so Rich, I don't know if there's any other questions, but if we get some before we get to those, There is one other thing, and this is more of a, I just want to iterate on this. I think if people take away one thing from the webinar, I want them to remember this. And if you want to elaborate on this, please do. There's a lot of secure browser solutions out there. This is the one that you do not have to rip and replace. You do not have to change the way you're doing things. If you've got a browser that you love or 2 or 3 browsers that you love, you don't have to pivot from that to something else. So this is not massively disruptive to your organization. And I will tell you that a lot of people get almost emotional about even the thought of having to move away from their browser. They get so used to operating in their environment, which is understandable. I mean, you operate in predominantly a SaaS environment today. And so having to change things like now I've got to go figure out what I'm going to do with my passwords and all the things that come with having to find a new browser and learn how to use that and set it all up that where you're operating effectively and efficiently today. So again, Rich, if you want to expand on that, fine, but I just want everyone to walk away with at least that point, is that this is not disruptive to your organization.
No, 100% agree with you there, Aaron. And, I mean, I use this example probably on a daily basis, right? You hand somebody a brand new Windows machine or even a brand new Mac. Roughly 70 to 80% of those users, the first thing that they do is they go and they download Chrome, right? They already have 2 browsers that are built into them. You've got Safari and you've got Edge. But about 80% of users will go and download Chrome because of the efficiency of having their profile associated with Chrome. Like you say, ripping and replacing a browser is not just about going ahead and saying, oh, you can immediately secure everything by changing your browser. It is about the user experience. And if you put something in front of a user, and again, to your point, all of a sudden, they don't have their bookmarks, they don't have their labels, they don't have things that are on their taskbar, you get very unproductive, unhappy users. So the other side of that is the IT overhead that actually comes with the rip and replace of a browser. It may seem that it's a very simple process in order to just push out another application to your environment. But this is not another application. This is a tool that consumes 90% of users' daily usage. So you not only have to think about that, but you have to consider into the fact, well, what browsers are there in my organization? So in order to make a rip and replacement 100% successful, you have to know every single browser that exists in your environment, not just the top 3. Forget Chrome, forget Edge, forget Safari. You need to know whether Firefox is there, Opera, Brave, DuckDuckGo. The list goes on and on and on of the number of Chromium-based browsers that are out there. So you need to effectively rip all of those out to replace it with one single browser to be able to provide that full security. Again, what we're saying is let us come in and complement your existing browsers. Don't disrupt your users. Don't add those additional costs and IT project overheads to your organization by having to go through the processes that I've just talked about, where you can simply provide all of the security we've just discussed by deploying an extension to your environment in an environment that doesn't even have to be hosted by you. So no additional architecture, no additional overhead. You have a complete tool, which is a single pane of glass for every single one of those browsers inside of your environment, Aaron.
Perfect. Well, hey, I think we may be getting to a wrap up here. Are there any other points that anyone on the panel would like to make before we wrap it up today?
Yeah, I'd like to add, first of all, thank you to everybody, and thank you to XenTegra for a great partnership and for sitting through today. And we certainly appreciate it. There's a few things that come to mind as we're wrapping up here. Some of you out there, may not have a real orientation yet to browser vulnerability. May feel that the tools you currently have are adequate. Some of you may not feel you have the budget right now. Others may feel that it's not a priority right now. And we understand all that and we appreciate that. But take the demo anyway. We'll spend a little time with you. And even if this is, not top of mind, top priority for you, It will be soon. We know that it will be soon, and you should have all the information at your fingertips when the time is ready. And we'll also, be able to bring you into some of the thought leadership stuff that we're doing. You'll stay on the cutting edge of what's happening in browser security, all the vulnerabilities that are happening, and we'll be happy to educate you. We're here to serve, in the true sense of the word. And we know that sometimes you have other priorities that are more pressing, but at the very least, take a demo, hear us out, and we promise that we won't waste your time and that you'll find value in it.
Wonderful.
All right.
Thank you, everyone, so much. Look forward to speaking with everybody about Acium and other security solutions here at XenTegra and how we can integrate that into a true holistic picture for you. Thank you very much for joining us, Rich and John and Aaron. We look forward to seeing you, at least Aaron, in the next one.
Thank you very
Aaron.
much, guys.
Thank you very
Thanks for
much.
having
Thank you,
us.
Leanne. Thank you, Aaron.